Hey, I'm Bacon, and this is the seventh in the Innovations of Traveler series, where I'm going to be discussing social status as a core attribute. So there are other games at the time Traveler was published that did have social status tracking systems. But Traveler was the first one to use social status as a core mechanic that also provided modifiers. I'm actually going to start, as I have been, with the landscape of the time. I'm going to go into a little bit. Well, let me just do it. I'll just do it. So, of the seven widely available TTRPGs that were around prior to the publication of the original Traveler in '77, only three of them featured a kind of system at all for tracking social status. And even then, one of them was purely narrative. And while the other two had a system, and I say that loosely, only one of them was actually a social tracker, while the other was just a leveling system by another name. So Bunnies and Burrows had the softest of the soft social status systems and was purely narrative. Each character, which was a rabbit, had a social rank within the Warren, which could affect how NPC rabbits treated them. Higher ranking rabbits had more influence over decisions, while lower ranking ones had to work harder to earn respect. Social rank could be earned or lost through role-playing interactions, completing tasks for the Warrens, or challenging other rabbits. And these are all role-play actions. A lower status rabbit could attempt to improve their standing by challenging a higher status rabbit in a dominance contest, which could involve physical confrontation, wits, or other social maneuvers. Again, generally role-playing with the exception of physical confrontation. And additionally, the game world included chief rabbits and other high-ranking members of the Warrens who dictated important decisions. PCs might need to negotiate with them, impress them, or sometimes even overthrow them. But these are, again, all role-playing choices. Different burrows had their own social structures, and rabbits needed to be aware of who held power when interacting with new groups. All of this was merely to give direction to roleplay or govern the flow of the game. All of it was done by adjudication, and none of it really affected the game in a mechanical way. In On Guard, in 1975, social status is the core mechanic driving character progression. The game is set in a swashbuckling 17th century France, where players take on the roles of nobles, soldiers, and duelists, trying to rise in social rank through dueling, carousing, military service, and political maneuvering. Every character in this game has a social level which represented their standing in society. Social level starts relatively low and can be increased through various means, such as joining a regiment. Higher status regiments grant greater prestige, winning duels, defeating notable opponents grants social points, which eventually boosts social level. And these are all activities that grant social points that contribute to the social level. Patronage and influence associating with high-ranking figures can provide social points, spending money lavishly, so extravagance in clubs and public appearances, military service, promotions, holding government positions. All of these will accumulate a measure of social points, which will contribute to progressing your social level. So there are other ways to gain social points, and failure to maintain wealth or prestige will actually eventually lead to a drop in social level. Also, cowardice and dishonor or criminal activity can result in disgrace or exile. This is literally just a leveling system by a different name and with a couple extra outlets. So as the expression of play in On Guard is extremely focused on that up or down social movement, this is what they landed on for level tracking. So while it is technically a social system in name, and while it can move in both directions, again, it's really just a leveling system. And then the third game is Empire of the Petal Throne. And you do have a social rank, which is a number from 1 to 100. It is both your position within society at large and within your social class or profession. The score itself represents your standing within the entire social hierarchy, though it is influenced by your birth and background. So your character begins with a randomly determined social rank score, which is then modified by their background, noble, commoner, etc. Nobles start with higher ranges, while commoners begin with lower ranges. And while Empire of the Petal Throne does assign social ranks and has rules governing privileges, there is no die roll modifier for social interactions. Status is a way for the player and GM to gauge the interactions between each other and NPCs, but there's no mechanical numeric component. So here, social rank is more about narrative positioning. It determines how NPCs react, what laws apply, and what opportunities exist. Enforcement of social status rules relies more on GM adjudication and player roleplay rather than strict mechanical formulas. Social status was more of a roleplay guide than an integrated mechanical component of the game. So, if you had a higher social status, you could possibly do things like talk your way out of minor legal trouble. Lower status, you would have more difficulty doing this, but it applies across a wide range of potential activities, but again, no integrated mechanical component. Social standing, abbreviated SOC in the original Traveler from 77, is actually one of the 6 ability scores rolled during character generation. It represents a character's place in the stratified social hierarchy of the Traveler universe. Like in Empire of the Petal Throne, it influences roleplay. But unlike all 3 of the previously mentioned games, the social score will provide bonuses at character creation and affect other situations in the game. So in Traveler, characters are generated by rolling 2d6 for each of 6 ability scores: strength, dexterity, endurance, intelligence, education, and social standing. A character's social score generally ranges from 2 to 12, though it can be modified by later events in the life path system. A 2 to 5 would be like a commoner background, possibly even a criminal or an outcast. 6 to 10 is a professional, minor nobility. 11 to 12 is nobility, with 12 being the equivalent of a titled noble. Social does not typically affect a character's ability to enlist in various services, but it does play a significant role in how the character progresses through their career. After rolling your ability scores, you will embark on a military or civilian career path in the life path character generation system, accumulating skills, aging, and potentially increasing your social score. For characters entering the military, Army, Navy, Marine, Scouts, Merchants, or other, social plays a key role in commission and promotion roles, particularly in the more prestigious services. So Navy and Marines, Army and Merchant Services, all of the above, a high social score makes it easier to obtain a commission as an officer. The initial commission role often requires a social score of 9+, and it provides a bonus of +1 to the roll. So when you roll to see if you achieve your commission in your life path generation, you actually get a modifier to the roll. And for promotion chances, they are sometimes influenced by social, depending on where in the life path generation you are, as well as what service you're in. And high status individuals are more likely to receive leadership positions because social will, again, at 9+, provide a +2 modifier to the roll for promotion. Other social statuses or other, we'll call them jobs, so like a rogue or a pirate, a low social score may actually be more beneficial, as criminal elements thrive in the lower echelons of society. So mustering out benefits and the social score. Upon leaving your career, you will receive, and leaving your career is, you retire from your career in the life path generation system, which I've reviewed in another video. It's called mustering out, and you get mustering out benefits, which may include cash, equipment, noble titles, or even a ship. So this will absolutely impact mechanically the game that you are about to play after generating your character. So characters with high social scores at 10 plus have better odds of receiving a noble title upon retirement, and a noble title benefit increases social to 11 or 12, granting the character a formal rank in society. Now, these are just for nobility and the titles, but again, mustering out, if you have a higher social score and you muster out as a noble, you have a higher chance of receiving cash benefits, equipment benefits, ship benefits. So these scores are actually very important in mustering out of your life path generation. So once play begins, social has both a narrative and mechanical effect. So high social characters command respect and authority. These are influence over NPCs. So this is more along the role play influence that this stat has. And this can probably draw pretty solid comparisons back to Empire of the Petal Throne, which is all role player narrative. So they may gain access to exclusive places, high class events, and aristocratic privileges. And low social characters may struggle with bureaucratic systems and aristocratic disdain. Legal and bureaucratic interactions. So social can influence legal situations, permits, and access to restricted areas. High social characters may be able to talk their way out of minor legal trouble. Again, as I had mentioned previously in Empire of the Petal Throne, very similar. Low social characters may face harsher scrutiny and punishments. Now, the Traveler book in 1982, which is the next publication of the game after the original publication in 77 with the little black books, and later editions. So the Traveler book in 82 and later editions would actually formalize modifiers for these specific interactions. However, the 77 edition didn't include them, and it was left up to referee interpretation. But it's very important to mention that these specific interactions were given mechanical modifiers formally in later editions of the game. So access to wealth and resources. Noble characters often have access to wealth, starships, and political influence. So wealth and starships, mechanical. These are things that your character acquires in-game that opens new possibilities. And I've gone over modular starship creation, not necessarily wealth, because that's pretty easy to understand, but the fact that it can feed into the other mechanics of the game is very unique in the time that this was published. So a social of 12 may even imply holdings, or estates, or obligations sometimes. So, you know, the holdings and estates, again, material wealth is frequently a very crunchy mechanical benefit or consideration with regard to the social score. Feudal obligations is more along the lines of role play. So in the Imperium, nobility is a powerful institution, and having a social of 11 plus typically means holding landed or non-landed titles, role play. And these titles, however, can open up missions or responsibilities, as I had previously mentioned. So it feeds into the game properly. Now, again, this is a little bit more role play, but the beginnings, or even not even the beginnings, but the solid mechanical foundation with the modifiers is present in the game. So in Traveler 77, social is more than just a stat. It represents a character's place in an interstellar feudal society, but it mechanically affects career progression as well as in-game interactions. It access to wealth, starships, holdings, as well as opportunities. And it does provide modifiers during the life path character generation system. And it plays, as well as playing a crucial role in determining how the universe reacts to your character. And again, in later editions of the game, a lot of this stuff was formalized to actually have those modifiers when you roll. So that's the end of this particular entry. I have one more to go, so there's going to be one more video in this series, which may be a little bit controversial, but I think it's pretty reasonable. It had to start somewhere, so but I'll you'll see it when I get there. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.